Welcome, everyone. I'm Tina Van Leuven, Practical Joy Alchemist, and your host for the Joy Evolution Summit, where we have the pleasure of connecting with the most amazingly inspiring joy beacons from around the world. And today, I am really delighted to be introducing you to Anne Lafleur, who is the genius behind A Gift of Happiness. Anne is a consultant and facilitator with a passion for helping create joy and connection in families, workplaces, and communities. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology and religious studies from Brown University, a master's degree in clinical social work from Boston College, and over a decade of experience working in human resources at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Her current mission is to place words of kindness, affirmation, and encouragement on yard signs in front of schools, community centers, churches, homes, and businesses in all 50 United States and beyond. And today we're going to be talking about why your happiness is a gift. Welcome, Anne.
Why, thank you, Tina. So wonderful to talk to you.
Yeah, so fun to connect this way. And I'm so excited to share your story with our audience. I'd love for you to maybe share a little bit about what your journey to joy has been like, because joy is such a unique experience for everyone. So I'd love to hear what it's been like for you.
So sure. So it's so interesting. I think my whole life has been one of the themes that runs through it is this question of, well, how to live, and I studied religion and psychology in college because I was hoping to get some wisdom about those questions, all these wise people throughout time saying what's important. And the turning point for me was really after I did all that sort of academic study and kind of was disillusioned from the academic study. I took a personal growth workshop. It was one of these very intensive sort of deep dives over the course of the weekend where they're having you strip away the layers of, this identity and this fear and all these things that we put around ourselves to protect ourselves. And really have you tune into what's actually at the core of you if you're willing to really look. And I remember this moment in the workshop where I got up to share and I was in tears and I just said, oh my gosh, I just realized how much I care, how much I care. And people were like, care about what? I'm just like, everything. I care about my life and I care about you and I care about the world. And it was just tapping into this core of, I guess for me, it was love and joy connected, and I think I've never been able to separate those two things since. I think the other thing that came out of that workshop for me was, you're with a whole bunch of people and they're feeding, sort of reflecting back what they're receiving from you as a person. And what people kept saying is, Anne, I like your smile. And up until then, I think I'd heard that from people, but I'd interpreted it as this condescending, oh, you're a little girl, let me pat you on the head. Oh, you're smiling, isn't that nice? But I think in the context of this place where we're doing all this deep work with each other, I could actually hear that it was sincere. I could actually hear that my smile, my joy made a difference for the people around me. I actually have on my wall at home, everybody at the end of the course wrote notes to each other about how we impacted each other. And somebody said, I actually can see it. The light in your smile inspired me to open my heart, keep it shining. Love this beautiful human being.
Beautiful.
And so this idea that my happiness, my well-being, just by being there, helped lighten other people's loads. It helps help them open things up for themselves. And I thought, well, wow, that's a cool win-win, because I like to be joyful. That's actually fun. And do I have permission, and could it be powerful and not just sort of this thing that I'd have to be mildly ashamed of or a little bit insecure about?
Yeah, that's so interesting, isn't it? I remember years ago hearing somebody say that it takes courage to be happy, it takes courage to be joyful. And at the time I was thinking, what the hell? What a strange thing to say. then I got it.
It's so true. One of the things that I've noticed is all the programming I've got about how in this particular situation, like we're taught we should be upset, we should be hurt, we should be angry, we should be all these things. Which is not to say, all those emotions aren't valid and okay, but the idea that we're not supposed to be happy in a particular situation is I'm like, oh, that's actually not who says. I've got freedom to feel how I would like to if I want to.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Have you ever experienced that, if you're just being really happy just because you're happy and the people ask, what are you on? As if you've got to be on some drugs or something. It's like, oh my gosh.
Right.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. So how did that then lead to where you are now?
Oh, a long and meandering journey. Let's see. So that was about 6 or 7 years ago. And the first thing that happened was, so it was a couple months. I took this course a couple months before the holidays. And so it's getting to be Christmas season. And I'm thinking about sort of what had been typical in my family for gift giving. And it was a lot of, buy this person this and buy this person this and gift card this. And at the end, there's kind of this like, this hangover of just excessive and along with sort of this inner kind of guilt of like I have this feeling of I just like bought that person off, like we're not really connected over the course of the year, but so I spend a lot of money on them and like that's supposed to somehow make this all feel great, and just realizing like I'm not willing to do that anymore. That just feels awful. So I told my husband, you can do whatever you want for your giving, but I'm going to create something that feels meaningful to me. And so I kind of riffed on this concept that that giving generously feels really good, like that's joyful. And that cliches are cliches for a reason, right? It's better to give than to receive. So rather than focusing on the lavishness of my giving, I created these little giving kits for my family members that essentially encourage them to experience kind of the joy of these little moments of giving. So it was a package of chocolates and note cards and stamps and like inspirational posters and money and little notes to attach to the money. Or the idea was like you put a little note on a dollar bill and you hide it somewhere, and sort of who's going to find that? So I put these kits together with some quotes and just some personal thoughts on what this was all about and what I hoped they would be able to experience through giving away these little gifts. And the truth is I have no idea how many people actually use theirs, but I know that a couple actually did, and one of them was my dad, and he really loved the idea, and he loved it so much he started talking to his friends about it, and one of his friends actually sent me $100 and said, I really like what you're doing. I want you to like do something with this. It's a great concept. It's really powerful.
And so
I thought,
cool.
oh, gift from the universe. Yay. This is a sign. So I started playing around with like what else could go in a giving kit, and what are these little things that we can do with and for each other that could make a difference, that are not a lot of money, that are not a lot of time, that don't take any special human being or superpower. And I was brainstorming with my boss one day, and she said, well, how about just a little card that says, reminder, you're awesome. and I thought, wow, that's all of those things, inexpensive and can make a difference. And so I went to my computer and I typed up a bunch of things and I printed them on stock, like card stock, and cut them all up. And I started handing them out around my office like that day. And everybody's like, wow, this is so nice. Oh, that just made me do, oh, that made me feel so good. Thank you. Oh, you didn't have to do that, blah, blah, blah. And they got stuck up on people's computers and stuff like that. And I thought, wow, like that was a lot of impact for not a lot of investment, but coming from a place of having the courage not just to be happy, but the courage to be kind, the courage to
Mm.
intend and want for somebody else to be happy, and to be willing to kind of go first and put that out there, even though it's a workplace and you aren't necessarily doing that normally with each other. So from there, uh, boy, that I had maybe 5 messages in the beginning. I've now got 170 something different
Wow.
messages on cards.
Yeah.
Like I've got my binder. I'll show you. I have them all in this binder. But so here's the this is what the "You Are Awesome" card looks like now.
Oh.
There's a card for every occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what we need. Sometimes what we need is just a reminder that everything's okay.
Mm.
That we've got this, that we can handle it.
I love this so much because it's something tangible. So oftentimes, you look on social media and everyone is sharing quotes and inspiring things, and yeah, that's nice. But when you have something that's tangible and you can actually take it with you, put it somewhere, maybe put it on the mirror or have it in your wallet or in your purse or
Yeah,
something as a
yeah.
reminder, it's so powerful. And then to be able to kind of keep that energy moving, like pay it forward.
Right, right. Yeah, the idea with these, I've resisted branding the back of them. Mostly the backs are blank. At this point, they have a little of my logo on them, um, but my hope with them had always been that this could be they could literally ripple out. So I give you a card when you may need it, and then you've gotten through that moment, and then you're looking around and like, who else could benefit from this, and you
Mm,
give it to them, and who knows how many layers deep that goes. um,
yeah.
and of course, maybe you're physically giving people a card, or maybe you're just sort of taking that energy and bringing it forward.
Beautiful.
I want to share, you said that you said you never know kind of what the impact will be, or how long it will last. There was I sent somebody a card. I'd roomed with her, and she was going through a nasty divorce, and it was like really, really hard stuff. And I sent her a card in the mail after spending time with her, and I reconnected with her. Oh, it was like 3 years later. And she said, "Anne, I still have that card that you sent me. I have it in my planner. It has gone from planner to planner each year as as I've gone through my life, because it was that meaningful to me." And like, meanwhile, I hadn't even remembered sending her the card,
Aw.
but but I did, and it landed. And because there was something tangible, she could hold on to it and be reminded of um, this kind of supportive, empowering type of moment that we'd had. So
Yeah.
that was so
Beautiful.
cool.
Beautiful. And I think especially in today's day and age, where, wow, like everybody is communicating via text messages or, you're not really sending letters or things like that anymore. This is kind of like receiving a little love note.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I just would be really curious to hear, everyone had, like I said, has their own experience of joy. I'd love to just hear for you, what zaps your joy?
What zaps it? Oh man. Um, so much of it is thoughts, right? My own thoughts, my own interpretations of things. I will get into sometimes places of, it shouldn't be this way. Like, I shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't be having this thought. The world shouldn't be this way. Like, there's something wrong. It should have been different.
Mm.
And so there's this fighting against reality thing, that zaps my joy. And then another thing that zaps it is when it's being in a place of fear and self-doubt that leads me to not act, and to not, it sort of leads me to hide. Sort of.
Mm.
And I get into these places of, I don't have anything to offer. Like,
Mm.
what I do doesn't matter. And I get back into that, well, all I have to offer is a smile, and that's not enough, and whatever. And so it's the thoughts, but coupled with like stopping acting. I'm no longer bringing anything forward because I'm feeling so there's so much self-doubt around it. And um and that can it lasts until I sort of something happens, either something or someone sort of shifts that.
Mm.
One of the original uses of my cards actually was recognizing that when I get into these pits, if I have nothing to offer and self-pity and it's awful, and recognizing that, well, the one thing that I can do, so like when I'm in that pit, I feel like I've got nothing, but I could take a card, muster up that I hope that this could make somebody somewhere happy, maybe,
Mm.
and like hide it somewhere anonymously, just like leave it, in a book at the library or something. And it's some little thing that shifts. 'Cause
Yeah,
all you need is like a glimmer of hope, and then that can start moving in a different direction.
that is so powerful. I'm sure that many who are watching our interviews here can relate to this. You start doubting yourself, you start second guessing yourself, you start shitting on yourself, and you just don't. How many of us have experienced that you don't think you've got anything to offer, and then
Yeah,
either
yeah,
to give yourself the self love, or like you say, to
right,
give out in the world in some way helps you
right,
realize that you do have something to contribute. How
right,
beautiful is
right.
that?
Right. And what I
Mm.
find, and I think why the giving and the happiness are so connected, is that anything that I offer with a sort of an authentic intent for somebody else, like I'm included. Like if I am willing to send this message of kindness to any random stranger, like that can apply to me too. So
Yeah.
it it helps bring me back into the human race a little bit, and as opposed to being this like separate thing.
Yeah, so that leads us beautifully into, well, what sparks your joy? Obviously, the cards and the giving.
Obviously, like absolutely. I think um, the having conversations with people, helping them, or reflecting back to them the ways in which they are a gift to others, or helping them see their positive intent in what they're doing and why they're doing it, and giving them tools or ideas for, so say somebody is expressing appreciation for somebody. Just to me, they're like, oh, I really love my mom because she does all of these things, and I say, well, when was the last time you told her, or would you like to write her a card or something, or I bet she would love to hear from you, and here's this tool that you could, here's a little card you could send her. And so shifting from kind of the thought to the action that would actually ripple out and land for somebody,
Mm.
as opposed to having it end with somebody's own, my conversation with them. So helping capture sort of the energy that's already in a person and helping them share it where it will move something.
Beautiful. Gosh, this ties in so beautifully. Like, if anyone is feeling like, whoa, this could be something I would be willing to play with, maybe you've already done it, but you can, take it up to another level, then to
Right,
apply that in the practical joy experiment we've got, because part of it is like you receive this inspiration. And that's all great to receive inspiration and to feel hope and all of that. But unless you actually do something with it, then
right,
it doesn't land. So by allowing yourself to, connect with Anne's cards and her messages and see how could you spread some joy? How could you spread some happiness through whatever act of kindness that you feel
right,
inspired to do? And how could that
right,
change the world? One person at
right,
a time.
right. That's
That,
the be the change you want to see. One of my
yes.
favorite quotes ever. Yeah,
Yeah, love that. Thanks, Anne.
yeah.
Oh, so looking back at your life, is there a time where you wish that you could have experienced or known or felt more joy?
Oh my gosh, this will be an interesting answer maybe. The moment that pops into my head is, when I was 14. I don't even know why I was all upset, but I was hurting and upset about something. And I remember my mother coming into my room and trying, oh, I'm going to cry over this. Oh my goodness. Trying to
Mm.
comfort me. And I remember fighting so hard to keep her out, and I don't want to tell you what's going on. I don't even know what's going on. Go away. I'm fine. And then, boom. And I succeeded in essentially having her leave and give up because I was not letting her in. And one of the big pieces of this connection, this happiness and human connection, there's the giving of it, but there's also the willingness to receive what you're being offered and to allow the other person to contribute to you and to feel the gratitude and it goes with some humility too, but being willing to feel loved and to not push it away either because I don't deserve it or because it's uncomfortable, whatever. I wish that I had been willing to receive more love more often.
Beautiful. And how do you feel that experience may have been really driving this gift giving? Because in order to give, there has to be somebody to receive.
Yeah.
And so it's giving and receiving all at once.
Absolutely. And being willing to receive. So I have something to give so that there's a flow to it.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And for our audience too, you may find maybe there is somebody in your life because in order to receive, especially if there's something going on where you don't even know why you're not feeling happy or why you're feeling sad, to allow somebody into your life to share their love and their presence with you requires such vulnerability.
Yeah. And it one of the quotes, full circle back to this course that I took, one of the memorable pieces for me was, if it's better to give than to receive, then the best gift you can give to somebody else is to allow them to give to you and let them know that they have value. Like as a parent now, like there's nothing more painful than wanting to offer love to my kids and being pushed it hurts,
Yeah.
I just want to have something to offer you. And so to give somebody the gift of letting that be expressed and land, it's just so kind.
Yeah, beautiful. And imagine, maybe this is already happening, or that this were being shared or taught in schools, and to have kids have the experience of letting each other know how awesome they are and have these cards and these messages, have conversations about this. And that's why I love, talking, gosh, we could have so much more to talk about. But
always in the group.
yeah, exactly. But I love how you came up with these signs, the idea of now you've got these gorgeous little cards that can be handed out, but you thought to step it up a little notch, and that is to create these signs that go in the yards. So with all the negativity being broadcast everywhere, if you think about all the messages that are bombarding us every day that basically reinforce all the fear and the doubt and the anxiety and all of that stuff, I think seeing your signs, I know you showed me one before, so let's have a look.
All right, I picked 5 of my messages. Here's the one that's on. You see, it's huge. I love. I'll show you a couple of the other ones. I brought up 3. I have 5 so far, and they're all rainbow colored. Here's another one.
You are worthy. Yeah, beautiful.
And here's another one. You belong.
Beautiful. You are loved, you are worthy, and you belong. 3 core messages that I think every human being longs to experience and to know. And yet, how often do we hear it? Or how often do we hear it from people that really matter?
Right.
So being able to have these messages placed around, to interrupt the regular broadcast that is going on.
Right. It's been so fun. So I've been only playing with this now for not even a month. But the signs are all over my town at this point. And I was at a town event yesterday, and so many people kept coming up to me and saying, Anne, I've seen your signs. I love them. They make me feel so good. So, the idea that I could inspire that, not just in my town, but I'm so psyched for, there are thousands upon thousands of other towns where the same experience could happen. And it only takes one person to be like, oh yeah, that would be neat. I'd love to see that here. And I've got the tools for them, and off it goes. And I'm just so excited to see how that's already kind of unfolding in different states.
Beautiful. So we will put a link below the video so people can connect with you. But knowing that, well, if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh gosh, that would be amazing. What if this really lights you up? If you think, wow, let that be the practical joy step that I'm going to take, and let's see what we can do together. And currently, I think you said you're only shipping in the United States, but for our audience who is all over the world, if anyone thinks, my gosh, this would be awesome, love to collaborate, then why not connect with Anne?
Figure it out.
Exactly, right? Create a global...
This world is full of resources. We can figure out how to get one of these signs to you.
Yeah, I think it would just be so awesome. And then to see, wow, it would be such a kick to see, like, wow, getting your message out, the seeing the spread around the world, have people post pictures that wherever they are. Yeah.
So fun. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's been interesting to me that there is, and I'm so glad we're having this conversation, because I'm this whole empowering people to recognize, oh, I could bring that. So there, for all of the, I love what you're doing kinds of messages, I get, it's very rare the person who says, I love what you're doing, how can I do it too? Or how can I want one of those. Some people jump on that immediately, but it's, what I'm finding is that's a pretty special person who has that urge to do it too, and to find their own ways. But my sense is, if you like it and you appreciate what it feels like on the end, then that's all it takes to be somebody who can pass it on.
Yeah. So I encourage
you get to experience what I get to experience.
Yes. And in collaboration. I mean, that's amazing. Imagine, that as you connect with others, as this is spreading around the States and then spreading around the world, that you create this extraordinary community. Imagine, I can just envision that, people traveling around the world and going to visit each other and connect and realize, wow, you made through this seemingly simple act of putting a sign up, spreading messages of love and kindness and happiness, that you're creating a community that ripples far and wide, and you have that sense of knowing, wow, you are loved, because wherever you go, you connect with others who share this vision. You are worthy and you belong. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me too. So who knows, maybe, in our audience, there may be some people who feel inspired to take this into their town, or maybe you might know somebody who knows somebody who could reach a lot of people. It'd be great to see this on, Oprah or Ellen, or I don't know, some of these shows, to really, get the message out there. Because oftentimes we think, who am I to make a difference? Well, you know what? You're amazing.
What else are you here for?
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. So awesome. Wow, Anne, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us and your experience. And is there anything else that you would like to share to wrap up our juicy conversation?
Oh, here is something that I've been thinking about lately. And especially, I know that I find when I listen to interviews of people that I admire, they're doing interesting things, there can easily be a sense of, oh geez, I can't do it as well as they can, or does that mean that I should look more like they do, or something like that. But this reminder that I do me better than anybody else can do me, but also you do you better than anybody else can do you, and better than anybody else what it is that your gift is, and the way of serving that brings you the most joy. And I think just this reminder that looks different for everybody and should look different for everybody. And so to have the freedom to really explore what really, truly, honestly, authentically lights you up, so that you can do it and talk about it all day long. that's where you lean into, which may or may not look like anything else that you've seen anybody else do. And
Yeah.
that's more than anything what I want. I love my signs, and if that happens to resonate, or my cards, use them. That would make me so happy. But more than anything, I want to see people doing what is like only coming through them, because
Yeah.
that's special, and nobody else is going to do it.
Yeah, that's such a powerful reminder, and I love that too. And I think what's helpful to remember is that even when you see someone who may be doing something similar, you could in fact find somebody who's doing exactly the same thing as you. They're not you, so you're going to bring the flavor of you to it that makes it a unique experience that will
Right.
resonate with those that are you're meant to resonate with you. So yeah,
Right.
be you.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the sign? The shirt, be beautiful.
That's
That's what I've seen lately.
I love that. Wow. Well, for everyone watching, for our audience, I invite you to join us, if you haven't already, in our private Facebook group and participate in our practical joy experiment. So you can take some of the nuggets of gold. Maybe there's something that Anne shared here with you today that really, really resonates, that you'd like to give yourself permission to play with, because there may be things that you've already done, but there may be things that are new to you. And instead of saying, nah, that's not for me, why not try it on and see how it is? Because it may just be life-changing. And, apply that to an area of your life where you would like to experience more joy, so that you're not just receiving all this amazing inspiration, you're putting it into action, which is what helps you embody joy, be it, live it, breathe it. So, and if you're enjoying this interview, and all the juiciness Anne shared with us here today and our other speakers, then be sure to share this with your friends and invite them to come and participate in the Joy Evolution. And until we meet again, thank you so much, Anne, for being here and sharing your light and your brilliance and your joy. I love your story, and I can hardly wait to see where, a year from now we catch up and say, oh, what's happened? It's going to be wow.
Me neither. Me neither. I can't wait.
Yeah. So awesome. Thank you for your time. And for everyone, go forth and let joy be your guide to a life that is worth waking up for every day.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tina.
You're welcome.